Hi you guys, if you guys are interested in seeing how I achieve this makeup look, then just keep on watching. Alright, hi you guys, come get ready with me. So we're about to go up to Penticton to go visit my dad. Gotta drop off his laundry and drop off a couple other things. But I finally have made it to day 83 of my recovery, of my sobriety journey of no weed and no alcohol. So it's been such a journey and I literally want to talk about it in this video. So I kind of want to go back to my past and kind of where I kind of stood with drinking and weed and everything like that. Because from as long as I was in high school, which was quite a while ago, I developed a habit of smoking green not almost, every single day. And it just became something normal in my routine. And, it's crazy to think about now because I don't live with it and it's just every day. I don't even think about consuming unless I'm around someone who's smoking or I can smell it physically. Then it kind of like then I kind of miss it a little bit, but I don't really get tempted to go and like want to use. It's just, oh, I can smell it. Oh, wow. Like it brings me back to the times where I obviously would be smoking. But for me, I think alcohol was the bigger issue because for me, it was more of like a crutch kind of. I would get bored and I would want to drink, and like I wouldn't get blackout drunk. Or in the past when I was way younger, and I'll talk about that separately, I did not have a sense of control over alcohol. Like I would drink and black out. And but anyways, in the recent months before I stopped drinking, I had self-control. It's just the fact that I would want to drink almost every day, and I wouldn't necessarily get drunk. It's just I wanted to sip on alcohol. And that was the bigger issue because in that sense, I didn't have self-control to just not want to drink for the day. And I would typically drink like 4 to 6 cans of the margarita, tequila, or else there was a few different drinks I would get in like 6 packs or whatever. For the life of me, I can't think of what the name is, but it's like, it was a peach mix. So I would really enjoy that. I was just really into just at least sipping on alcohol, whether I got buzzed or not. But for the most part, I was just wasting a lot of money because, of course, I wasn't even getting. It'd be different if I was like going out or hanging out with people or something like that, or going to an event. But I was typically just staying home. The main part was I was at home, so that's kind of like the issue. I was just drinking by myself, and obviously that's like no way to be living. So it got to a point where I would go out and drink, or I would go out and get alcohol, and I would come back and I would just feel this sense of guilt and feel this sense of not really wanting to do that or not really wanting to spend the money, but then I would still continue this pattern. And then of course I did start going to church quite a few months ago. So that just going to church and praying to God, and really, of course, I had a relationship with God, but it wasn't anything like it is today. So when I would go to church, I would just feel the sense of guilt and I would just pray and hope for change. But at the same time, at this focal point of me really wanting this change, when I would smoke weed, it would also make me feel this sense of guilt. And so each and every time I would smoke, I would be like, okay, this is the last time. I don't want to do this. But of course, the cycle just kept repeating and I just felt like I could not stop. So as I was going to church, my church had mentioned to me that we were going to be doing a baptism, or they were going to be baptizing people. So I decided I wanted to get baptized. So leading up until that point, I still drank and I still smoked, but I would feel conviction. I just did not want to continue this life. And I would pray to God and I would ask for deep change, and I would pray against the temptation. I would pray against wanting to use, and I would ask God to lead me out of this lifestyle. So when the baptism day came up, I was getting ready to go up, and I was, I think, the third person out of 4 people. So I was in the back room of the church and I was praying to God and I was crying my face off, praying and asking for major deep change and change of lifestyle. and change of mind, change of heart, to release the temptation and not want to feel any, I didn't want to feel any temptation to use or feel all this temptation circling through my mind, because every time I would try and stop in the past, it's just the thoughts of just temptation would just consume my mind all day long, to the point where I would just give in. It finally became my turn to go up, and I was so emotional, and I got into the little tub thing. Or no, I think I was still standing out, but they were saying a prayer and everything like that, and they handed me the mic. They were saying, "Is there anything you want to say?" And I just spoke into the mic saying, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." And I just started sobbing my face off. And then I got into the little tub that they had, and they baptized me.
Well, this is a fun way to spend Sunday morning. JC, welcome to the waters of baptism. I remember it this way too. Like my heart was just taken away, and the Lord was doing something amazing in my life too. JC, it has been such a privilege as this congregation and pastor just to be standing with you, worshiping week after week, and to be here now for this moment. And I know that you love Jesus. Is there something you would like to say about that?
I can do all things through Christ.
Yeah. Woo! That's the one she quotes. Beautiful. Well, JC, we're not going to make this complicated. Based on your confession of faith in the Lord Jesus Christ and your sincere request to follow through in the waters of baptism, we are going to baptize you this morning in the name of the Father and of the Son and the Holy Ghost. Here we go.
Thank you, Jesus.
Down we go, sis. You got it. That's good. Bring her up.
And I just felt this instant sense of relief, and I was just so emotional, and I just felt so, there's no words to describe how that feels. And I didn't expect it to feel like that, but it really did feel truly, there's no words. And after that day, I seriously had something come over me where I just did not feel, it's like all the sense of temptation and just thoughts that would consume my mind all day long to want to drink and smoke were completely gone. Even though that night I did get a little bit of temptation to want to smoke, because of course I would smoke every night before bed. And I will say that evening I did fall into temptation a little tiny bit. And I went and took one bong toke, and immediately I felt conviction, and I felt absolutely horrible. I felt so I felt so shameful, so guilty. And I prayed to God. I got on my knees and I started praying, and I started asking for forgiveness, and I started sobbing my face off, and I just opened up my heart, and I told God that I am so sorry. I don't know what on earth I was thinking, and I just laid my heart out, and I just went on and on and on asking for forgiveness and a sense of peace and just a restart, even though I had just gotten baptized. So I was praying and praying and crying and crying, and eventually I did fall asleep. And then the next day I woke up, and because of that night, I just did not feel any more temptation. It just dissipated away. And that's how I ended up being able to fully stop smoking weed. Now, I wish that I hadn't have done that, because then I feel like it would have been, in my eyes, like a perfect, like a perfect world. But at the end of the day, I feel like if that didn't happen, I would have eventually gave in to the temptation at a different time. But because I gave in and I felt that conviction right away, and I just immediately felt that guilt and that shameful sense, it's never came up on me that strongly to ever want to use or smoke or drink in a sense that I felt before. So I'm very, very grateful. As for drinking though, I definitely felt temptation. There was this one day that we went downtown, and we were bringing my uncle there was a few of us in the vehicle, and I ended up feeling really, really intense temptation to the point where I literally walked all the way over to the liquor store, and I kept going back and forth, feeling this intense temptation like no other. But at the same time, I was feeling conviction, and I did not want to. And I was crying, and finally I got back in the vehicle, and I'm just so glad I did not go in there that day and destroy everything, because I truly feel like if I would have not stayed on this path, I probably would have fallen off immediately, and all of that would have been for nothing. So I'm very, very glad that I didn't give in to temptation at that point. So that's how I ended up stopping, and I'm very grateful for those instances, because I feel like they changed who I am today. And without all of that, I wouldn't be sitting here, I feel like. So I'm very, very happy with the way things happen, but God is so good. And I'm so forever grateful for getting baptized, because I just don't think if I didn't, I would not be sitting here today. And it's 1:11 on the clock as I'm saying this. Also, my Temu order came in, and I filmed a haul for it, so I'll be uploading that shortly here. But I'm gonna try these new earrings that I got, crosses. I also did my nails. They're Hello Kitty. I posted a video of them already, but I absolutely love them. So with that being said, this is gonna wrap up the Get Ready With Me. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Always remember, it's so important when you're building a relationship with God. It's so important to stay sober-minded. That's gonna advance your life so much more. I promise you that. So with that being said, I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.